Hey guys, it's been a while. It's gothjon. Welcome, my beautiful weebs. So I'm going to give you guys a spoiler warning for the anime I watched this season. So, spoilers for Mushoku Tensei, Bleach, and Zom 100. I fucking loved Mushoku Tensei this season, and I don't think there's much else to say about it. I was very excited when we saw his elf friend from his childhood. And, just like I'm a main MC and I'm kind of a dunderhead, he couldn't tell that one of his childhood friends was staring right in front of him. But, just like when he was a child, he assumed she was a boy as Fritz. And then, at the end of the episodes for the season, she finally said, Guy, I'm your elf chick friend. Don't you remember? And he's like, of course I remember. And he starts crying, and then they have sex, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty neat. And, our boy Rudy, he's really growing up. He's, less being a shitberg that he was, in his previous life, and I'm glad that he can, have his redemption arc. So another show I watched this season was Bleach. Bleach is hype as fuck. Old music is remixed. It's fucking sick. That Aizen, song, I'm all about it. Seeing Ichigo do a little mini training arc was pretty cool. I wish that would have been more fleshed out, but, it is what it is. Lots of character deaths that might not stick, because LOL, we're zombies, which I will be talking about as a zombie show after this. So this season has been a wild ride. Really excited when it starts to air more episodes. We probably got to wait a couple more months. I want to see the main bad guy, however you say his name, with the Y's and the W's, like Yadek. That's my attempt. Get his ass kicked and then somehow do a shonen ass pull at the last second, because that's kind of what happens in shonen anime. Another one of the shows that I watched this season was Zom 100, although it hasn't finished airing, which is kind of a letdown, but I'd rather they wait and do the animation than it to come out shitty and get like an Evangelion ending that doesn't make any sense. So I'm sure it's going to continue airing after this season, because the type of show it is. So my first thoughts coming into the show were it's a zombie anime, and then I had flashbacks from High School of the Dead, and I was like, oh god, this isn't going to be, tits and the anime like High School of the Dead. And then when I finally watched the first episode, I was like shocked right out of my pants. It was just visually stunning. And the very creative ways of getting around the Japanese censors with like the colors for the zombie blood was fucking phenomenal. It was straight up beautiful rain splashes of color. That's what the blood was. You think red and you get your yellows and your greens, and you're like, this is fucking chaotic beauty. And due to the studio biting off more they could chew, the show was delayed. It's on hiatus right now. And that was mostly because the studio, like I said, they bit off a lot more they could chew. They kept pushing back the show to like the following day, which ended up being a Monday, for it to air, and then they just ran out of time slots, so they couldn't air it on Japanese TV. So hopefully that gives them enough time to finish it, and they can do it right. So the last show that I completed from this season was Liar Liar, which the show was very mediocre. I kept watching it because, it was like junk food. You just keep wanting to wanted to see how this Lelouch wannabe, got out of the shenanigans that he put himself in. So I would watch a second season, but, maybe like 3 episodes in to see if, it's still holding my interest. It's kind of like a cross between like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like their star chip system, where you had like the gloves of the star chips, and then they would like fight off for them. Like if you lose to somebody, they would take your star chips. But in the show, if like they're a higher rank than you, then you get their star, and it goes up to like 7. And the main character is bullshitting his way out of this. I won't explain the spoilers or anything, but it's kind of No Game No Life meets that Yu-Gi-Oh! Star chip system, but a lot less horny. Like, there is a little bit, but it's not as bad as No Game, No Life. And I really enjoy, like, the games, and they're not too over-explained, and I can kind of, like, get what's going on. But, I'm not getting any real, like, substance out of this. So now we have new airing anime this season. Although, it's pretty early into the season to talk about shows. I don't really have much to say about them, just like last time. Spy Family Season 2. It's fucking awesome. Yum More Nice Great Comedy. First episode is out, and it was great. Poor Yor. That's all I'm going to say. Goblin Slayer Season 2. Oh, so good. Oh, I love Goblin Slayer. It's a great show. You can never underestimate fucking goblins, because, they're out everywhere, and they do crazy shit. And there's a lot of crazy ass shit that they do. It's kind of interesting to see how they deal with them. It's only 2 episodes are out. They've been great. I can't wait to watch more of Goblin Slayer. And then another show that we got is Shield Hero Season 3. I might drop this if I get bored. It's something about these shows, these fantasy shows, when they get to the Season 3, I just lose interest. Or like Season 4 or Season 5, and I'm just like, what? How long it takes for the show to come out, several years later, by that time I've lost interest, and I've completely forgotten, the first couple of seasons, and, why I was watching the show to begin with, getting hyped. It's going to be a real 3-episode test for me. It's something typically I do with these type of shows. Now, I like some of the characters, the girls are adorable. And that leads us into our topic discussion, which I will be bringing my friend. So I'm gothjon, your host, and who am I speaking with?
This is J-Rod with Northwoods Magic, where we dive into all things paper magic of the North.
Awesome. All right. So our topic discussion is going to be about Dragon Ball Z and all the cool stuff with that. So we'll start with J-Rod. What's your favorite character in Dragon Ball Z?
I absolutely love Vegeta. I think Vegeta is fantastic, and I love that he has so much character progression. He is absolutely one of my faves.
All right. I also like Vegeta. He's a pretty cool guy. Kind of see his his entire arc from being an evil asshole racist into becoming, a do-gooder of do-goodness, and he wants to, protect his family that he eventually gets in the anime. My favorite character is Kid Buu. I just love that Majin Buu in general is just so deliciously evil. He's very sinister with the, I'm gonna turn you kids into candy, and then he wants to absorb them. And I just love Kid Buu. Like, he has no fucks to give. He does not care. He just wants to beat the shit out of people. And then he gets all very small and, to be redundant, very diminutive in stature. And you compare him to, like, regular Majin Buu, you're like, oh, he's a tub of lard. I don't think he's going to be a real threat. And then you see Kid Buu, and he just, like, beats the shit out of everyone. And because he's absorbing everyone, the stakes are even higher.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think one of my favorite things about Majin Buu as well is the fact that he also has a lot of different growth within him. You look at him, he starts out with, how you see him, he comes out evil and whatnot. He has his different shapes that he projects. You got the bigger version of him when he eats one of the Kais. You got one of the smaller versions of him when he's a kid. And then you have him where he's with Mr. Satan as well, and they're like best friend companions.
Oh, that reminds me. When you get the Majin on Vegeta, that's another character arc for him, because when he's being controlled by Bibbidi, I think that's how you say it,
right?
Or Bobbidi.
Yep, Bobbidi.
It's hard to keep them straight. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. That's the joke. And then he even he struggles with just him having inherent evilness inside him, and how he sacrifices himself because that's just something Vegeta and his character would do. He'd explode himself to save his family and his friends, even when he's being manipulated by an evil enemy guy.
And that's where you see Vegeta show that that level, that layer of compassion. You know, he's calling Trunks over and says, "Hey, come here. I'm gonna give you a hug." And you know, not too long before that, you see him blowing up a portion of the stadium at the contest.
Right. And then you kind of like relate to him. You're just like, oh, Vegeta isn't just a shit heel. You know, he's actually kind of a half decent guy. So heading into that, let's talk about your favorite arc in Dragon Ball Z. What would you say?
Ooh, there's a lot of good ones, right? I mean, there's the Frieza series, the Cell series, you got the Boo series. I mean, you got the Android series as well that runs into Cell. So, you know, I think my favorite part of that though would be the Frieza series. I really like the Frieza series just because of the fact that they are really introducing Gohan in a whole nother level. They're introducing Krillin in that relationship with those two. And then you have Goku, who is coming to the rescue, as he always does. But he also, right as he gets there, he's super powerful, but then he gets switched over with Captain Ginyu. So, yeah.
Right. That's kind of awesome. And then what happens to Captain Ginyu? They even play it forward in Super, which is kind of awesome. You're just like, for the real fans, they see Captain Ginyu come out of nowhere, and you're like, is this storyline still going?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So my favorite arc in Dragon Ball Z is the Kid Buu, the Majin Buu saga, because it's just like you said in a previous recording, Majin Buu's like a Pokemon, and you know he transforms and all that. So he is just the greatest evil, and you can't really respect him because he's small in stature. And how like there's a tournament of I don't remember what they called it, but there's a tournament arc, and any arc that you watch in Dragon Ball Z, there's probably a tournament arc, and the tournament arc in the Buu saga is just as awesome, because you're like, who's this Tubalard? Why should we be worried about him? And everyone's saying he's the ultimate evil. And then even in Super, freaking Beerus is freaking him out when he hears about Majin Buu when they're getting the tournament power all set up. He's like, who, Majin Buu? Like, even he starts getting a little scared. And you're like, oh, that's probably good that he's a good guy now.
Right. Well, you know, the thing is, too, with Beerus is they actually fight in the beginning of Super as well. So that's kind of cool that you actually get to see Beerus fighting Majin Buu. Like, that's one of those dream fights that you could go, wow,
right.
Can't believe I just saw that.
It's a really, there's a YouTube channel that pits different people from different shows and animes and video games and all that, and you'd expect something like that on one of those type of broadcasts. Have you ever watched Dragon Ball GT?
Unfortunately, yes, I have, and I've watched the whole thing to completion, and it's okay. There's some good parts to it, but gosh, Gohan's daughter is just so stinking annoying. It just really ruined it for me.
That's okay. Pan is she's a treasure in Super, at least. I personally have watched a couple episodes of GT, but I wasn't man enough. I couldn't stomach it. Now knowing that you've stomached it, I kind of want to check it out, just because like I played the Dokkan Battle game and I was really into that Dragon Ball Z characters. I'm like, ooh, who's Baby Vegito? What is that? Like, I kind of want to know that storyline. I know it's probably not well written because Toriyama had nothing to do with it, but I'm just really intrigued. Like, I kind of want to know what's going on there.
You know, there's some really cool stories in there. It's just when the granddaughter's not there, it's just a lot better. Like when they have the fights on Earth without focusing around her, it's better because you have Vegeta, you have Gohan, you have those guys.
You have Vegeta with a mustache.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. You have Vegeta with a mustache. I mean, they have their daughter in there as well, and she's older. It's just, there's a lot of cool things that are going on in that series that it's like, wow, hey, you know, you get to see what life is beyond the normal. So, yeah.
See, even if you were like me and wasn't a big fan of GT, you should watch the Brawly movie. because you kind of do get some of that Goku and Vegeta like doing their training arc and whatever, and then they come out of a hyperbolic time chamber and they have big ass mustaches and beards. And you're like, what? Oh shit! What the fuck? And then when you watch Brawly, you can really tell that they really were pulling no stops in the animation. It's the most hypest fucking fight. It makes Brawly canon, which Dragon Ball fans have wanted for so many years. You know, like another Saiyan. And then they even explain why they're fighting and all that, and it's kind of funny. And they even do like the fusion dance, and you know, it's fucking legendary. You should check out Brawly. It's awesome.
You know, I own that movie. I own the superhero one that just came out. What I've been doing is I've been going back from the very beginning of like Dragon Ball Z with all those movies, and I'm watching them in like in order. So that is on my list, but I might have to just fast track it. The way you just said that right there got me excited.
Yeah, when I found out it came to the theaters, I went to the theaters playing my Dokkan phone game. Sat to it with a stranger, and we started gushing about Dragon Ball. It was kind of awesome. And then I saw the superhero movie. And that one has 3D animation, so it's kind of, I can see why people didn't want to check it out. They're kind of, it's not as good as the Brawly movie. The Brawly movie is hype as fuck. The superhero, it's kind of like,
Okay.
And we also have Dragon Ball Daima, which is the new Dragon Ball series that they're coming out with. Saw a little bit of Kid Goku, so I'm kind of hesitant. But you know, it's like their anniversary like title. Maybe it will be like GT, but not garbage or something like that. Maybe it'll be the future that we were looking for. You know, I'm really excited whenever they do a continuation of Super, whatever happens afterwards, because I really heard a lot of cool stuff in the manga. A lot of stuff with like Vegeta. You know, he has to come up with his own Ultra Instinct because that's kind of how Vegeta rolls, and he becomes, you know, ultra super mega awesome, and he's got to keep following that Kakarot. He's got to keep, you know, coming up to his level. He's got to hit that next Super Saiyan bullshit power level.
Always the Saiyan, never the Super Saiyan. Always
right,
yeah.
Right. He's always the bridesmaid. Yeah.
That's right.
So is there anything else you want to talk about Dragon Ball before we headed into our next our video game discussion?
You know, I think we're pretty much good on that, but I will say that I would be really, really interested to hear from the viewers on this, on what their thoughts are of Super Saiyan, or not Super Saiyan, but of GT. Yep, of GT, and just seeing if they think that the show is canon or not canon, you know, and if they feel like it was a good series or not a good series. I'm sure there's a lot of in-betweeners right there too.
Yeah, don't forget to comment that in the comments below, and you know, like the video and subscribe, and go check out this Northwoods Gaming cool dude. You could go subscribe to his cool videos. And then so we're gonna head into the video game discussion. So generally in this part of the thing, I would talk about, you know, like what anime I'm watching and stuff like that. But J-Rod here, he's a big Dragon Ball guy, not a big anime guy like me. But that's okay, because we both play video games. So, what games have you been playing recently, J-Rod?
You know, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4. I got some likes and dislikes of that. I got Mortal Kombat, the new one that came out, so MK1 for those who play that game.
These naming conventions are confusing.
I know. But I also play. I play a lot of old school games as well. A lot of like Super Nintendo, 64, PlayStation, and on up. So yeah.
All right. So you said Diablo 4, which you know we both played. I want to hear what you didn't like about Diablo 4.
What I didn't like about Diablo 4 was the constant grind of that game and not feeling like you get the rewards for the grind.
Yeah, I can understand that. You spend, you know, $70 to $100 on a game and you expect something, and then they tack on a battle pass on top of that, and you're just feeling like, oh, this when a game starts to become like feels like a job. Like I play a lot of free to play games. Like I've played Honkai Star Rail because I'm a giant weeb. I've played Genshin Impact because I'm a giant weeb. And once the game starts feeling like a job, you feel like you have to log in every day to get your daily rewards. Then you're just like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. This is a job. And I already have one of those. I don't want my gameplay to become a job.
Right. Right. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And the thing is with Diablo 4, and I had purchased the big version too because I thought, well, I'll get more bang for my buck, but it just didn't feel like I was getting anything, anything good. Like the skins didn't feel great. I was just like, oh, okay, I got some skins.
You didn't feel like you're getting your money's worth.
No, I really didn't feel like it. The reward system that they gave you, the coins they gave you, just were garbage, and you couldn't even use them because the numbers weren't even enough to buy anything out of their shop, and it just felt like a pay to play. But
yeah, in a fully priced game, that feels gross. I can completely understand that. I personally didn't even make it to level 100. I stopped playing in the first season because they introduced like a bunch of like garbage trinkets, and we didn't already have a stash space. Why would you introduce more items?
Right.
But and then they announced the second season, which kind of makes me want to go check it out because it sounds like they fixed a lot of the complaint stuff. Maybe I'll give it a day or two. It's going to be hard because there's a lot of games I'm going to want to be playing. There's a new Call of Duty I might get roped into because they released a lot of the MW2 maps from 2009. I'm just like, oh, shit. Too many games, not enough time. Saying that, we said what we were going to say about Diablo 4. It's like a disappointment. It's a child that didn't rise to the occaon, and
it's a pay to throw it away. It's a pay to throw away game.
Throw away. Yeah, that's well said. I like that. Pay to throw away. So unlike Diablo 4, there were some other games that I played that I kind of felt like I got my money's worth. Like, for instance, Starfield. It's a Bethesda game, so it's what you expect. It's not a space sim. It's nothing like whatever that space sim game is that came out, and on release everyone was like, oh, this game is terrible, but then they really put their time in it and really fleshed out the game. No Man's Sky, or as I like to call it, No Man's Lie, because they lied. So I have 50 hours in Starfield. I have beat the game. I will come back to it eventually. I like the gunplay a lot. The companions are really cool. In fact, there's one of the characters that you can romance, and I was like, that was a very interesting, the chick that sounds like she's Russian. I liked her a lot. Gunplay is tight. Something about RPG games that have gunplay in them. When the gunplay is really tight, that makes the game a lot more enjoyable for me, because I feel like even if the story is dog shit, like Mass Effect Andromeda, at least the gunplay is tight, and then you can have fun shooting shit, which is, at least the bare minimum of an RPG game where you shoot with guns. Think Fallout in space minus pausing the game in VATS and aiming at their head for 80%. Jared, are you interested in Starfield?
Yeah, I actually bought the game. I played about 2 minutes of it, which is kind of be like, what? The guy only played 2 minutes of it, right? But you got to remember, I bought that game right when Diablo 4 was in its kind of its hype and in the first season, so that's where a lot of my time went. And then I bought Mortal Kombat, which, I wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah, Starfield is definitely on my list of next game to play. I love Skyrim. I love all Bethesda type games. So I knew the moment I really dive into this game, I'm going to be spending a lot of time playing this game.
And I would recommend when you do, check out the Nexus mods, find some cool mods that you think would be interesting. Sometimes like lockpicking's kind of a chore. Then after you're done lockpicking, you finally got annoyed by it, you can get a mod for that, make that a little bit easier or something like that. Or what I do in Bethesda games is I get a mod that completely makes it so I can hoard everything. Unlimited stash space. I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I need that. I'm going to pick up that.
Right.
I'm going to pick up. And the cool thing about Starfield is I've played Will I Crashed the Game with Too Many Mods game. And unlike Fallout New Vegas, which wasn't made by Bethesda, but was published by Bethesda, Fallout 4, Skyrim. I haven't really downloaded 2 mods crashes your game on boot up. If I have, it was easy remedied problem. Another RPG game with guns that I've been playing recently because it released a content DLC is Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, which the original game kind of launched in a buggy T-posing mess. And if you bought it on PS4 or the original Xbox One, I'm sorry, your game doesn't run, and they've abandoned you. But if you're a PC gamer like myself and J-Rod here, Phantom Liberty is tops. It has great story, great revamp of the perk system. It's 2.0. Like even the police got a little bit of a rework, which was kind of janky. They added max tech, so when you really start blowing shit up, you really get your shit kicked in. And then I'm really enjoyed my playthrough of Phantom Liberty. I kind of want to do a second playthrough to see if like the story changes and something like that. I know they really like promised that when the base game came out, but you can only really do that with one quest. So, I'm kind of excited to do a second playthrough of that and, try, something like I'm going to run around with a katana and split second everywhere. And then third game that I played was Baldur's Gate 3. Has a really cool story. It's kind of amazing how much cool stuff that you could think you wouldn't be able to do, you could do in the game. Like, for instance, you could stack a bunch of barrels around an NPC and then, like, challenge them to a fight and explode the barrels. And I almost put 100 hours in the game. It's a lot of fun. There's a Dark Urge I found out that you could play through as your, like, character. And it's, like, telling you, oh, you're a serial killer. Oh, you should really, eat that kitten over there or something crazy. And you're just like, then like the narrator is like going through it and you're like, I had a sudden urge to choke out his lungs. It's really telling of who gothjon is now.
I was going to say, this is gothjon at its finest, right?
yeah. It's a full chaotic energy. When I would play like Star Wars The Old Republic to the Sith Lords, when Kreia would tell you, peace is a lie, there's only passion. And then when you start doing evil shit, she starts saying all the good stuff about the Jedi, and you're like, what the fuck? And then another game that I played that's not an RPG, that I completely blame the Act Man, he's another YouTuber, very popular guy, is Halo Infinite. I've been a Halo kid since high school, probably even before that. Halo Infinite's gotten a lot better. They've released a lot of cool game modes. It's not just... When the game released, it didn't even have Slayer. Like, the fuck? It's like a core game mode. And then the weekly missions have gotten a lot better. You don't necessarily have to kill them with a specific gun, which was really annoying because you're like, I don't get kills with Stinger. I'm really bad with it. And then the last game that I've been playing has been Escape from Tarkov. You ever heard of that one, J-Rod?
I have not.
Escape from Tarkov is this really cool... it's kind of like a battle royale, but not. Yeah, you load into a map with like 10 to like 20 people, and it takes place in fictitious Russia. It's kind of like Arma 3, where it's a realistic combat shooter game. Whatever gear you bring into the raid, if you die or you don't insurance fraud it, you lose it forever. Or you hope that the guy that kills you gets killed or doesn't bring your gun out, so you can get it back on insurance.
Oh,
it's really
okay.
It's really it's kind of like have you ever played like a battle royale game like Fortnite?
I sure have. Yep.
Or
Absolutely.
PUBG.
Fortnite.
Like
absolutely.
you know that feeling when you're in the last like 10 people?
Yes, absolutely.
That's the entire feeling for Escape from Tarkov. Now it is kind of a spendy game because you feel like you have to buy the big dick edition because you get more stash space for your inventory when you're outside of raids. But it's you kind of get that adrenaline. You're just like, did I hear somebody walk by? Was that an AI? Do I hear some random Russian? Do I hear suka, which is like Russian for like bitch? And you're like, oh shit, they're like screaming at me in Russian and they're trying to like hunt me down. Or you'll have a player kill you and then you'll just like, oh, he just had a really cool gamer chair, she's a better player than me, or better gear. The really cool thing about the game is so they have these wipes. So everybody's like kind of like on like the same you'll both have shitty weapons, you'll both have shitty armor, you'll both be throwing rocks at each other, trying to kill each other. Not necessarily rocks, but that's kind of what it feels like. Everybody has paper thin armor and really shooting the head like really matters. It's they got a lot of like the gun licensing. So if you want to shoot like a 5.7 or like a M16, like they have like the real name for it. And then when you're like constructing the guns, they try to make it as realistic as possible. So like you can't put like some silly ass scope on your little handgun, unless they have like a spacer or like an attachment or like some kind of goofy. The game is so complicated, not to like scare any new players, but I always joke about Escape from Tarkov that you have to remember what button is to breathe, because if you don't press that, you'll suffocate. That's kind of what it feels like. Like you're like, oh, what's the reload button? And then if you haven't been a PC gamer for a long time, you'll die because you had the wrong ammo in your gun because they jammed. And then they added like gun jams and all that sorts of shit, and it's kind of a nightmare in a gunfight when you're trying to shoot, like an SMG, like a P90, and then your gun jams. You're like, shit! And you have to like find the right combination of keys to like unjam your gun so you don't die in a firefight, which is kind of awesome. I've been playing that off and on with my roommate and a couple of my friends. It's a very intense game. It's rage-inducing. It does have some hackers, unfortunately, but that's just because they use BattleEye. In fact, there's if you've ever heard of the wiggle that killed Tarkov, J-Rod?
I have not.
It's a really popular YouTube video. It's about this guy Goat. He did all this data, had bought some hacks, and it was like wiggling at other hackers, and then if they would wiggle back, he knew they were cheating. And like in a lot of his games, it was some like absurd percentage of games he ran into cheaters or people that he thought were probably cheaters because they wiggled back through him. You could see their frames through the wall. That's what his hack did. And of course he got banned, which he should have, because that's what they should do if you're cheating. But he didn't kill anybody while he was cheating. He's just doing research, and then he'd go like, he'd like say shit to the cheaters. He'd be like fucking spy man trying to find cheaters. It was kind of awesome. All right.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool too. I think we need to get more people out there. I remember when splicing was a big thing back in Halo 2. People would splice the wires and glitch your game out, and then.
Oh, you're talking about like modded Xboxes? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know anybody that did that. I wasn't cool enough. But I knew people that are using XBR, but that was just a bug in the game in Halo 2. Then I can never manage it because I'm not that good, and I didn't play online. I didn't have Xbox Live. So my parents were like, "Oh God, you might talk to somebody on the internet. You might get child molested."
I played a lot of Xbox Live. Like that was when that came out.
Didn't have it.
Halo 2. That's all I did. It was go to school, come home, play Halo.
Yeah, mine was PlayStation Online, and that was PlayStation 3 because it was free.
Yep.
And I was, but I was I was at least like 17, 18 when that came out, though. So I was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 with a couple of friends from work, and hearing all those naughty words that teenagers say on the internet, which I won't repeat because I'm not getting in trouble. Yeah. So we were talking before we set up our recording. We were talking about Metal Gear Solid, which was it was a pretty riveting conversation. I wish we hit record for that one. That's okay. So you played Metal Gear Solid, and so which Metal Gear Solid's your favorite?
Ooh, man, I love them all. No, I'm just kidding. I like the third one, Snake Eater. That's probably an all-time favorite classic, just because it has got so many different elements. I mean, you had to eat snakes to maintain. You had you got different skins and color camos, and there was just the espionage aspect of it was fantastic. The story was great. The cutscenes were great. Everything was hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, firing on all cylinders. Yeah, I really enjoy the song, the ladder that's just long enough for the song.
The ladder
so the Snake Eater song,
Oh yeah. I love Snake Eater. Yep,
yeah.
I love that song.
So when you climb that ladder, the song is the same
yes.
Length of the ladder, which I thought was ingenious. Like
Yes.
Hideo Kojima, there's a reason why he makes great stories, even if they don't make any sense.
Yeah, that is so true.
I was really into Phantom Pain, although there was some goofy shit in that, like quiet breathing through her skin. That was kind of weird. But I really enjoy the gameplay because it kind of feels like, like a more out in the wild type of like stealth gameplay. Like I don't feel like I'm stuck in like corridors, and I can really go wherever I want and plan out how I want to. So when I play those type of games, like I'm just like getting a sniper rifle, getting a silencer, and just going to town.
So let me ask you this: when it comes to Metal Gear, what games did you play for the Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear series? Did you play any like the PSP versions or anything like that?
No. I'd played a little bit of the PSP one, but the controls are already goofy enough. So when the new ones come out, I really hope that there'll be like mods that can really bring just like the one thing that I don't like about Metal Gear Solid is trying to get over that hurdle of trying to like figure out how the buttons work. Like once you get past that, then you kind of get used to it, and you're like, these games are freaking awesome. And there's a PlayStation Metal Gear Solid where the story gets so silly, like I would probably never replay 5 just because of how like goofy it is. It's like all over the place. All right. So I think that concludes our discussion. Is there anything you wanted to plug?
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and comment down below because gothjon is fantastic at what he does. So make sure you watch all his videos and stay tuned for his future content.
All right. Hopefully the next podcast video that I release isn't an eternity from now. And then you should also check out Northwoods Magic. He posts a lot of magic content, which is kind of neat. In fact, I'm in one of his videos. We play Flip It or Rip It, and it's gonna make somebody mad. Don't forget to comment in this video and tell us about how you feel about GT. Maybe you're one of the 5 people that likes it. I want to hear about that. Don't forget to, like I said, subscribe to Northwoods Magic, comment in the videos, all that good stuff. And you guys have a nice day.